Can you use your voice in place of a clicker? So here's the easy answer. The easy answer is yes. You can use your voice in place of the clicker. Here's the problem, okay? The problem with using your voice instead of the clicker is that your voice is going to have a lot of different inflections. So for example, okay, a lot of people, myself included, will use the word yes, or will use like a word like okay. And so what happens is that sometimes you're like yes, and sometimes your dog does it really awesome and you're like yes. So what happens there is that you're going to begin to change what the clicker is, which is what's called a moment marker. And a moment marker, what that's intended to do is to tell the dog that that specific thing that you just did leads to this very specific consequence, like me throwing a ball. But what people begin to get confused is that they'll use a verbal moment marker, like a word like yes, and they'll confuse it and turn it into praise. So for example, let's just say that I was going to use okay as my moment marker to tell my dog that it did a good job at sitting. So I would say sit, then I would see the dog's butt hit the floor, and at the moment it hit the floor, I would say okay. And then what might happen is that I might actually say the word okay again. I'm like, okay, you're such a good dog. Okay, good job. And so everything that I did there, when you saw my face brighten up and I begin to give that praise, the word okay becomes part of the praise. And so as you begin to use this word ambiguously, where it actually is used as a moment marker and used as praise, it can actually confuse your dog. I'll give you an example, okay? So I was doing some protection work with one of my dogs, and my dog was in a downstay. And what the dog was supposed to do next is that when the bad guy took off, my dog was allowed to go and chase after him and to, bite the sleeve and to try to stop him from leaving. So I had my dog in a down, the bad guy was there, and I was talking with the bad guy. The bad guy asked me a question, and I said the word okay to the bad guy. And at that moment, my dog then said, oh, that means that I can go get him and I can, bite the piece of equipment. And that my dog was not wrong. Gabby wasn't wrong in believing that. But it wasn't what I wanted to do. This is why a clicker is better, because when you use a clicker, it's not actually going to, you're not going to use it in a piece of conversation where somebody's going to ask you a question and you're going to click the clicker. But you're going to use words like okay and yes and different things like that, and it might confuse your dog. But here's the thing, like those types of things happen. People misuse clickers all the time too, but I just think that it's important to actually use verbal, to be able to use clickers, okay, and then just be very specific with your verbal moment markers. I'll give you a really funny one. I have a camera, I have a GoPro, and this GoPro actually has voice commands. So I can actually have the camera right here, and then I could say, GoPro, take a picture. Well, if I ever have my dog right next to the GoPro and I'm going to take a picture, I would love to use it as a voice command to tell the camera to take a picture of my dog. But it's so funny because I'll have the camera up and I'll tell it to take a picture, and my dog believes that that word go means that it should get a reward. So I've had my dog a couple of times when I say GoPro, take a picture, GoPro, take a picture, that the dog will maybe bite the camera or try to get up and break the shot. So that's one of the drawbacks to verbal moment markers that people really want to be careful. Hey, but thanks so much for the question.